The year is 2026. Our planet stands at a crossroads. Climate change, once a distant threat, has become a terrifying reality. We are living in a world transformed where the familiar rhythms of nature have been disrupted. The consequences of our inaction are all around us. Extreme weather events have become commonplace. Heat waves scorch the land, droughts parch the earth, and storms lash the coasts. The delicate balance of our ecosystems is crumbling. The very future of humanity is at stake. The year 2026 marks a critical juncture in this unfolding crisis. The decisions we make today will determine the fate of generations to come. We can no longer afford to ignore the warning signs. The time for action is now. We must confront this challenge with courage, ingenuity, and an unwavering commitment to a sustainable future. The alternative is unthinkable. The time to act is now, before it's too late. Climate change is no longer just an environmental issue. It has become a matter of hunger and survival. As temperatures rise and weather patterns become more erratic, our ability to produce food is being severely compromised. Droughts, floods, and extreme heat are wreaking havoc on crops around the world. Harvests are failing, food prices are soaring, and millions are facing the threat of starvation. The global food system, already strained by population growth and inequality, is being pushed to the brink. The hardest hit are often those who are least responsible for the crisis. Smallholder farmers who produce much of the world's food are particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Their livelihoods are being destroyed, and their communities are facing food shortages and economic hardship. The situation is dire, but it is not hopeless. We must take urgent action to address the root causes of climate change and build more resilient food systems. This means transitioning to sustainable agriculture, reducing food waste, and ensuring that everyone has access to safe and nutritious food.
The year 2026 also marks a turning point in international cooperation, especially in the face of unprecedented global challenges. The escalating climate crisis has forced nations to confront the reality that we are all interconnected, and that our actions have far-reaching consequences. No country can escape the impacts of climate change alone. The extreme weather conditions, rising sea levels, and shifting climate patterns affect everyone, regardless of borders. In North America, the United States, Canada, and Mexico have signed a landmark treaty on water resources and climate migration, recognizing the urgent need for a unified approach. Recognizing that water scarcity and displacement will be major challenges in the years to come, the three countries have agreed to work together to manage these issues in a spirit of cooperation and shared responsibility. This treaty is a significant step towards ensuring that future generations have access to essential resources. The treaty includes provisions for the sharing of water resources, ensuring that all three nations can access the water they need, even in times of scarcity. It also establishes climate migration corridors, which will allow for the safe and organized movement of people affected by climate change, minimizing the potential for conflict and ensuring that those displaced can find new homes. Additionally, the treaty provides for humanitarian aid to those displaced by climate change, ensuring that they receive the support they need to rebuild their lives. It is a testament to the power of international cooperation in the face of shared challenges. By coming together, these nations are showing that it is possible to address even the most daunting issues through collaboration and mutual support. However, the treaty is just a first step. Much more needs to be done to address the root causes of climate change, such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions and transitioning to renewable energy sources. In addition to addressing the root causes, it is also crucial to prepare for the impacts that are already inevitable. This includes investing in infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather events and developing emergency response plans. The future of North America, and indeed the world, depends on our ability to work together to create a more sustainable and just future for all. By adopting sustainable practices, such as sustainable farming and renewable energy, we can mitigate the effects of climate change and build a resilient society.
Section 4. The Great Migration, Seeking Refuge in the North. As climate change intensifies, so too does the movement of people. The phenomenon of mass migration is becoming more pronounced with each passing year. Millions are being displaced from their homes by rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and environmental degradation. These environmental changes are forcing people to leave behind everything they know and seek refuge elsewhere. This mass migration is one of the most significant humanitarian challenges of our time. The sheer scale of displacement is overwhelming, and the need for coordinated global action has never been more urgent. In North America, we are witnessing a growing trend of northward migration. This movement is not just a temporary shift, but a long-term trend that is reshaping the demographic landscape. People from Central America and the southern United States are increasingly moving north in search of safety, security, and a more hospitable climate. They are driven by the hope of finding a place where they can rebuild their lives. This movement is driven by a complex interplay of factors, including climate change, economic hardship, and social unrest. Each of these factors alone can be devastating, but together they create a perfect storm that leaves people with no choice but to move. The influx of migrants is putting a strain on resources and infrastructure in northern communities. Local governments and organizations are struggling to provide adequate support and services to the growing number of newcomers. It is also raising complex questions about identity, belonging, and the future of our societies. How do we integrate these new populations while maintaining social cohesion and harmony? How we respond to this challenge will have profound implications for the social and political landscape of North America in the years to come. The decisions we make today will shape the future for generations. The northern migration is a stark reminder that climate change is not just an environmental issue. It is a human issue. It affects real people with real lives and real stories. It is a call to action to address the root causes of displacement and to create a more just and equitable world for all. We must work together to find sustainable solutions that protect both people and the planet.
Section 5. A world ablaze, extreme weather and its devastating impacts. In recent years, the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events have been on the rise, painting a grim picture of our planet's future. The year 2026 has been a year of unprecedented extreme weather events. It has become a stark reminder of the escalating climate crisis that we can no longer ignore. From the sweltering heat waves of the Indian subcontinent to the devastating floods in Europe, the impacts of climate change are being felt around the world. These events are not isolated incidents, but part of a larger, more troubling pattern. These events are a stark reminder of the fragility of our planet and the urgent need for action. The time to act is now, before the damage becomes irreversible. In India, temperatures soared to record highs, pushing the country's infrastructure to its limits. The heat was so intense that it melted roads and caused widespread blackouts. Hundreds of millions of people were affected by power outages, water shortages, and heat stroke. The healthcare system was overwhelmed, struggling to cope with the influx of heat-related illnesses. The agricultural sector, the backbone of the Indian economy, was severely impacted, leading to food shortages and economic hardship. Crops withered under the relentless sun, and farmers faced unprecedented challenges.
Meanwhile, in Europe, heavy rains caused widespread flooding, displacing thousands and causing billions of dollars in damage. Entire communities were submerged, and the recovery process will take years. The floods highlighted the vulnerability of even the most developed countries to the impacts of climate change. No nation is immune, and the need for global cooperation has never been more apparent. Coastal regions around the world are also facing increasing risks from rising sea levels and more powerful storms. These areas are home to millions of people who are now at greater risk of losing their homes and livelihoods. These extreme weather events are a glimpse into our future if we fail to act on climate change. They serve as a dire warning of what lies ahead if we continue on our current path. They are a call to action to reduce our emissions, invest in adaptation measures, and build more resilient communities. We must prioritize sustainable practices and innovative solutions to safeguard our planet for future generations. The choices we make today will determine the world we leave behind.